Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala, amma ba'du. We went over yesterday the word for word, what each word means in the ayah and its root for the most part. And we talked about the general tafsir with a rough translation of Zubdat al-Tafsir from Muhammad ibn Sulaiman al-Ashqar, which we said is a abridgment of Ash-Shawkani's Fath al-Qadir. So today, inshallah, we're going to go over the i'rab of the ayat. What are the endings on the words and why, so that it can help us with memorization. So if you understand that the fa'il is the doer, and you understand, for instance, what we went over yesterday. Let me see. Let me get an ayat here, for example. I'm trying to see something here for a second. Let me get an example for us here. I don't know. I don't see one here clearly in this surah. Give me 1 second. Okay, for instance, if we go up a little bit to the surah above it, which we'll do, inshallah. For instance, khalaqnal insan. If you understand that this is we created mankind, right? Khalaqnal insan. Then later on, if you know that's what the ayat means, indeed we created mankind in the best of molds or the best of fashions, and you realize we created mankind, and you realize that mankind in this sentence, even in English, is the object of the verb, then you'll remember that the object is mansub, and you'll never say khalaqnal insanu or khalaqnal insani, because you realize that it's the object of the verb, it's the maf'ulun bihi. So the benefit of this is not so that we can be scientific in our i'rab, as many people want to be. They want to go through and they just want to say fi'l amr mabni ala sukun fa'al damir mustatir taqdiru anta. Well, all that has no benefit if you don't understand what the word itself means, right? So this is why we're doing the grammar, so you can realize that this is the object of the verb, and the object of the verb is mansub, right? And therefore Allah created, or we created, khalaqna. Na here is your fa'il. What does that mean? Na is the fa'il. Na is the one who's doing it. Khalaqna. Right? So that helps you understand the meaning. We created. Right? We created mankind. Right? We created mankind. And it just helps you to understand and to say the words properly. That's the purpose of nahu. The purpose of nahu is so that you can properly formulate your sentences. So when you speak properly. You don't be speaking in broken English like sometimes we be doing, you know what I mean, like this. You don't want to sound like Deontay Wilder when you're talking about Islam, right? You don't want to sound, we be in the gym every night in the morning time. Be like, you don't want to talk like that. You want to talk proper Arabic. Amir, something's wrong with your headset. So the purpose of studying this nahu is so that you speak properly, first. Secondly, okay, I could know that khalaqnal insanu means, and I put a dhamma on there on purpose, I could know that that means, and we created mankind, and I just said it wrong. And you could say khalaqnal insanu or insani, and I understood what you meant. MashaAllah, miskeen, this poor person made this mistake, and I get the point. However, sometimes it could change the meaning. It could change the meaning, as we have in why the vowels were put on the Quran in the first place. Why were they put? Why was this tashkil called tashkil? Why was it put in the Mus'haf in the first place? Because someone heard a person reciting an ayat. I believe it is from Surah At-Tawbah. I'm going to look real quick. I believe it's from Surah At-Tawbah in the very beginning, where Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, let me see. Allah is escaping me right now. Anyway, it says that Allah is free from the mushrikeen. Allah is free from the mushrikeen. And then it says, and the messenger. Right? If you put a kasra on the word messenger, then it makes it that Allah is free from the messenger as well. Right? Allah is free from the messenger by just changing that kasra from the dhamma. When you have a dhamma, then it says, let's see, here it is. Yes, here it is right here. Surah At-Tawbah, ayat number 3. Right? It says, أَنَّ اللَّهَ بَرِيءٌ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ وَرَسُولُهُ. The dhamma on the Rasulu makes it, and the messenger is free from the mushrikeen as well. But if you put a kasra on the on Rasuli, like you did the mushrikeen and made it majrur, then it says Allah is free from the messenger. Just like when we said in Al-Fatiha, if you said an'amtu instead of an'amta, then you're saying guide me to the path of those who I'm pleased with instead of those who you are pleased with. On those who I bestow my favors, not those who you bestow your favors. So the reason for this is that. This is the reason. Not so we can get scientific, so no one gets sidetracked. Why are we doing this and that, right? So that we can be correct in our speech. Bidnillah ta'ala. Any questions about that?
No.
Surah Al-Alaq, as we said, is mudaf ilay. Iqra is a command verb. It's a command verb. Fil amr. Mabni ala sukoon. This sukoon on that alif there is always going to be there, right? And the fa'il here, whenever we have a verb, we say we need a fa'il. The doer is you. Meaning, Iqra ya Rasulullah. Iqra ya Nabi. Right? Iqra ya Nabi. Read. Meaning, he's talking to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Iqra. Bismi Rabbika. The ba is harf jar. Ism is majroor with a kasra. Rabbika, Rabbi is mudaf ilay, majroor with a kasra. And ka is an attached pronoun, a damir muttasal, right? A damir muttasal in a position of being majroor because it is mudaf ilay, but it's mabni ala fatah. So we say about this kaf, we say damir muttasal, connected pronoun, right? Fi mahal jar, in a position of being majroor, we say mabni ala fatah. Mabni ala fatah. It never changes. In the position, fi mahal al-jar. In the position of being majroor, mudaf ilay. In the position of being majroor because it is mudaf ilay to Rabbika, your Lord. It shows possession. Right? Alladhi ismul mawsul. It's a connecting noun. It's a connecting noun. And it's in a position of being majroor because it is a sifa. It is a description of Rabb. Read in the name of your Lord who. It's going back to the one who. Going back to the Rabb. Alladhi khalaqa. Khalaqa is your fil madi. It's a past tense verb. Mabni ala fatha. It's always going to have this fatha because there's nothing attached to it. There's no khalaqta, khalaqtu, khalaqna. There's none of that there. So it's mabni ala fatha. Right? And yes, that's good. Right? And the one who is the one who's doing it. Khalaqa, who is the fa'il here, meaning huwa, but it's referring back to your Rabb. Khalaqa in the next ayat. Khalaqa is a fil madi, same thing. Mabni ala fat, and it is the fa'il is huwa. Right? This is a new sentence. It's huwa, but it's referring back to the Rabb still too. Khalaqa al-insan. Al-insan is mansoob maf'ulun bihi. It is mansoob maf'ulun bihi with a fatha, which is clear. right? It's apparent. It shows up there, right? خلق الإنسان من علق. من علق حرف جار. علق اسم مجرور with kasras. Any questions?
لا.
طيب. اقرأ. Again, command verb. فعل أمر مبني على سكون وفاعل, and the doer of the verb is mustatir. It's hidden inside of there. تقديره أنت, meaning we say this is meaning you do it, right? You read. وَرَبُّكَ الْأَكْرَمُ. Wa is harf atf, right? Or here it is isti'nafiya, meaning it's continuation. Iqra, wa my throat is really dry, so I apologize for bad pronunciations. Wa here is almost like fa, right? Kind of like fa, but it doesn't mean so or therefore, but it means a continuation. Iqra wa rabbukal akram. Rabbu is your mubtada in this sentence. It is marfu' with a dhamma. In the kaf is a attached pronoun, right? Mebni ala fatha. Walaikum salam. She's downstairs. Mebni ala fatha, right? In the position of being majrur because it is mudaf ilay. Al-akram. Al-akram. Just to make it easy, and there are options here, then it is the khabar of Rabb. Rabb is your mubtada, and Akram is going to be your khabar. Rabbuka al-Akram. He is the most noble, the most read, and your Lord, He is the most noble, the most generous, the most honorable. Right? Alladhi. Alladhi is ismu mawsul. Right? Ismu mawsul. It is a sifa of Rabb, going back here or here, whichever one, right? Going back to Rabb being a, since this is your file is marfu, alladhi would be marfu, even though it's mabni ala sukun, even though it doesn't change from there, right? Alladhi allama. Allama is a past tense verb. Allama is a past tense verb, fil madi, right? Mabni ala fatha, it's always going to have that fatha, meaning huwa, right? The damir, the pronoun is hidden inside of it, meaning he. Allama bil qalam. Bi is a preposition, harf jar, making qalam after it majroor with a kasra. Understood? Any questions? So when we see this bat, we know that it's always going to be qalami, not qalamu or qalama, because of the bat, right? Allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam. Allama fil madi, mabni ala fatha, right? The fa'il is a damir mustatir, it's a hidden pronoun. Taqdiruhu huwa, meaning he taught. Al-insan maf'ulun bihi mansub, right? Maf'ulun bihi mansub with a fatha, that's apparent. Ma lam ya'lam, what he didn't know. He taught man what he didn't know. Ma is an ism mawsul, mabni ala sukun, right? And it's a maf'ulun bihi here. It's a maf'ulun bihi too. He taught man. He taught him what? He taught him what? Exactly. He taught him what he didn't know. So ma here is in the position of being maf'ulun bihi. Now what's the purpose of that? Do you really need to know that? Do you really need to know that ma here is a maf'ulun bihi?
Oh, technically, no.
Huh?
I would say technically, no.
Technically, in general, no. You don't need to know that. All you need to know is he taught mankind what he did not know. Do you need to know do you need to know the, okay, yes, you said, Amir, you said yes. What particle of speech is that word yes in English? What particle of speech is that? What do we call that word yes in English? I'm waiting on an answer. I'm not getting an answer. What is the particle? What is that word yes? You type yes. What does that mean? What particle of speech? This here, ma here is the maf'ulun bihi athan. It's athani. It's the second maf'ulun bihi. What is yes? Is it an object? Is it a subject? Is it a predicate? Is it a verb? Is it a noun? What is it? What particle of speech? What function does it have? I'm going to assume here. I'll leave it to Abu Sumayya or Abdullah. They can answer too. Muhammad, she can answer too. But I'm going to assume here, and I could be wrong, but like you guys are probably like me, and you don't know. I don't know what particle of speech it is. I don't know, is it a verb? Is it a noun? Is it a this? I don't know what it is. But I understood it when you said it. And I didn't need an explanation for it, right? And that's the purpose of it. The purpose of this is for understanding. Now, if you're going to make tafsir, if you're going to make judgments, if you are going to do it, if you were going to make tafsir, if you were going to explain hadith, if you were going to go do it, then having that knowledge will benefit you because it will tell you how the sentence is made up. And the more you know about those things, the more you can look into things deeper. But in general, if you ask the average Arab, what is this ma? What part of speech it is? They're not going to know that it's the maf'ulun bi than. Right? So, do we need to know that for now? No, we don't really need to know it. But it benefits us some information. Right? That we'll keep it, and inshallah in the future it will help us. Even if this ma doesn't help us, this specific ma inside this surah doesn't help us, right? Then having that information somewhere else will help us, right? Having that much detailed information about the Arabic language will help us somewhere, even if it doesn't help us inside of this ayat number 5 in Surah Al-Alaq. Is that clear to everyone?
No.
Did anyone have an answer for what the word yes is? No. What is no? We don't know either, right? Okay, ma. Ma is a maf'ulun bi thani, right? Lam is a harf nafi. Wa jazm wa qalb. Nafi meaning it negates. Jazm meaning it makes the verb after it majzoom. And qalb meaning it takes it from being in the present tense to the past tense. So ya'lam is a present tense verb, majzoom after lam, with the meaning of being in the past because of the lam, right? Mabni ala sukoon, or it's no majzoom ala sukoon, right? Right. Kalla, kalla, no or nay. We said this is a harf which shows like no way. It's just a harf, right? Zajr. Inna, harf nasikh, na wa nasib, making the noun after it mansoob. So we say insan, being ismu inna, mansoob with a fatta, right? Ismu inna, mansoob with a fatta. La yatgha, la yatgha. Lam here is the lam at tawkeed. Yatgha meaning transgresses. Yatgha meaning he transgresses, right, is a fi'l mudari, marfu'. But because of this alif, we do not get to see the dhamma. When we have a regular 4-letter or 3-letter root, such as ya'lamu, right, ya'lamu, we see the dhamma when it's marfu'. But because we have yatgha, that alif does not allow us to see the dhamma on this because we can't write it because it's an alif. And we would have to make it a hamza. And it's not a hamza, it's an alif. So we don't get to see the dhamma there, even though it is marfu'. And la yatgha is going to be the khabar inna. Right? Khabar inna. Why do we say that? I'm trying to make sense of this to you guys. Because we said that there are 2 types of sentences. Those that begin with a noun, jumla ismiya, and those that begin with a verb. Those that begin with a noun, they must have a mubtada and a khabar. Right? And those that begin with a verb must have a fi'l, a fa'il, right? And maybe a maf'ulun bihi. I just abbreviated. Maybe. So when we see this sentence, innal insana la yatgha, we said insan is a noun. So inna enters upon a noun, a nominal sentence on a jumla ismiya. So we see this first noun, but where's the second one? So how is it a jumla ismiya if we don't have the khabar? No, the khabar is there, but the khabar is not in the form of a noun. It's in the form of another sentence. La yatgha is a sentence. He transgresses. He transgresses on his own is a sentence. Right? And that is in the position of being your khabar here. So that's why we do it. The same thing when the sentence is a verbal sentence and we only have the fi'l where we're looking for the file. We have to find it. We have to find it. It's there. Ar-ra'ahu staghna. Ar-ra'ahu staghna. An is a harf masdar. Right? Meaning it's going to make, it's just a harf masdar. It's going to make the verb after it mansub, but here it's a past tense verb, so fil madi, they don't become mansub, they never change, only the fil mudari changes, right? So ra'ahu, this was originally ra'a, but because we added that ha there, then we changed this alif maksura to a standing alif, right? An alif mamduda, so we say ra'ahu. Or we even lost our hamza there, or our alif on the hamza. We just put a hamza there. Ra'ahu. Ra'a is a past tense verb, mabni ala fatha. Right? But we do not get to see the fatha on there because of the alif. The alif prevents us from seeing it. Right? Just like we said up here with yatgha, it prevents us from seeing the dhamma there. Who, right, is the maf'ulun bihi, ra'ahu, he sees himself, maf'ulun bihi, mansub, right? Istaghna is a fil madi, it's a past tense verb, mabni ala fatha, but again, we do not get to see that fatha because of the alif, right, because of the alif, and the file is mustatir, it's hidden, taqdiruhu huwa, meaning huwa, right?
Now, you were saying that yesterday.
What?
You saying us stuck. And it shouldn't be it's stuck. Letter got a fatha.
I'm trying to see here. It's stuck for the, it's stuck. Nah, yes, it should be. It should be. You're correct. Istaghna. Jazakallahu khairan. Istaghna. Jazakallahu khairan. La yubarak feek, Abdullah. See what I'm saying? You don't need me. I'm gonna open up the controls for the pen, man. You take over, man. Inshallah. Ayat number 8. Inna ila rabbika ruj'a. Inna is a harf nasikh wa nasib. It is emphasis, makes the noun after it mansub, right? Here we don't have a noun. No, our ismu inna is actually here, ruj'a. We said this is your khabar. If you remember yesterday, when in tafsir we put the khabar first. To your Lord is the return. To single out that is to Allah, like we said, iyyaka na'budu. So ila rabbika, ila is harf jar. Rabbi is majroor, ismu majroor, rabbika, mudaf, mudaf ilay, right? And this is your khabar, khabaru inna, right? In the position of being marfu, because khabaru inna is marfu. Ruj'a is your ismu inna, it is mansub, but because of that alif, you do not get to see the fatha. Same thing, over and over, right? Ara'ayta. Ara'ayta, we had this a number of times yesterday. Hamza istifham. This is al-hamza lil-istifham. We're asking a question with this hamza here. Ra'ayta is a past tense verb. Fil madi. Mabni ala sukoon. Why is it mabni ala sukoon? Because the attachment of the ta. The ta here is your fa'il. Right? The ta here is your file. Mabni ala fatha. It's always going to have a fatha on there, and it's the file. It's in the position of being marfu. Ara'ayta. Have you seen? Alladhi. Alladhi is ismu mawsul, but is in the position of being mansub because it's the maf'ulun bihi. Ara'ayta alladhi. Have you seen him? Yanha. Yanha. Right? Yanha is a fil mudari. Marfu'. But we do not get to see the dhamma on it. Right? We do not get to see the dhamma on it. Why? Because of that alif. Should be yanha'u. Right? Yanha'u. But that alif does not allow you to put a vowel on it. So yanha. Right? Yanha. طيب. Have you seen him who prevents? Right? Who prevents? Abdan. Prevents who? An abd. Maf'ulun bihi. It's the maf'ulun bihi. Even though it's in another ayat, it's continuing of the same sentence. Right? Yanha abdan. Maf'ulun bihi. Mansub. Either as a dharf. It is a adverb. Talking about something that happened in a time. Right? It could be conditional, but it could be when. It could be if, or it could be when. Idha salla. Salla here is a past tense verb. Fil madi mabni ala fatha. But we don't get to see the fatha on there. Why? Because of that alif. Right? Because of that alif on that. Yeah, that alif right there. Salla. If we had, for instance, allama, we see allama. We see it there. Now we have salla, a verb on the same form. Form 2. However, this is an alif here and not a ya. So we do not get to see the fatha on that alif there. You cannot write it because it's an alif and not a hamza. Right? So it's there linguistically, but it's not there in writing. Ara'ayta, the same thing. Ara'ayta, harf Hamzatul istifham, asking a question. Ra'ayta, a past tense verb. Fil madi, mabni ala sukun. Right? Why? Because of the connection of the ta, which is your fa'il, in a position of being marfu, even though it's mabni ala fatha. Ara'ayta. Ara'ayta. In. Kana. In is a harf shart. Harf shart. And it also... It's a harf shart. It's a condition here. If or when. It's a condition. Kana ala al-huda. Kana is a fil madi. And it's in the marfu form. Right? And it's in a position of being the khabar. Right? The khabar. The khabar for what? Who can tell me?
Kana.
Okay. Kana is the mubtada here, I'm saying. Kana is in the position of being no, I'm sorry. I screwed up. I'm sorry. Kana is fil madi. Just leave it like that for now. Fil madi, right? Fil madi. What's the fa'il? Taqdiruhu huwa, right? Going back to the abd if he prays. Ala harf jar. Al huda. Huda is ismu majroor, and it should be majroor with a kasra, but because of that alif, we do not get to see it. We don't say ala hudayi. It's ala huda because it's an alif. O is harf atf. It's a connecting word, connecting the two sentences together. Have you seen if he was on guidance? Or amara fil madi mabni ala fatha, as we can see there. The file is mustatir. It's hidden. Taqdiruhu huwa. Bit taqwa. Ba is harf jar. Taqwa is ismu majroor, but we do not get to see the sign of that being majroor. It's a kasra. The sign of it being majroor is a kasra, right? But it's hidden, right? Kasra, which is muqaddar, meaning it's appropriate. It's appropriate. It's there, but it's not written. Why? Because of the alif. The alif does not allow us to write it on there. Right? Ara'ayta. Again, same thing. Hamza al-istifham. Hamza of asking a question. Ra'ayta. You see how that word is? Istifham. Istifham. What is the root here? Fa, ha, mim. Fa, ha, mim. From faham. To have faham. To have understanding. Right? Faham is understanding. Sin, ta is to seek something. Most of the time. Istifham. To seek an understanding. What does that mean? To ask a question. Harf al-istifham meaning a question. Hamza al-istifham, Hamza of asking a question. Why? Because you're seeking to understand something. So you ask a question. That's the terminology here. Al-ra'ayta. Ra'ayta fil madi mabni ala sukun li'ittisalihi. The ta is because of its connecting of the ta is mabni ala sukun. The ta is your file. It's mabni ala fatha. It's in the position of being marfu because it's the file. Al-ra'ayta. In, as we said, is a harf shart. It's a condition. If kadhaba fil madi. It's a fil madi. Wa tawalla. Wa harf at. Wa tawalla. Tawalla is a fil madi. Right? Mabni ala fatha. But we don't get to see it because of that alif. We don't get to see the fatha because of that alif. Any questions?
No.
طيب. Alam, again, this hamza is istifham. Right? This hamza is istifham. Lam is a harf jazm. Wa nafi wa jazm wal qalb. Negation, it makes it majzoom. And it changes it from the present tense to the past tense. Alam ya'lam. So ya'lamu is a present tense verb, which is majzoom with a sukoon. Why? Because of the lam. Lam ya'lam. Now it's not written here, the sukoon. Why is the sukoon not written here? Because of the ba. This is a tajweed rule. When there's that meme sakina followed by a ba, then it has a gunna there. Lam ya'lam bi anna Allah yara. So because of that, they don't write it as a tajweed rule here. Right? As a tajweed rule. Right? Many tajweed rules are incorporated into the Mus'haf of Medina. The Masahif that are written for us today. The old ones, they didn't used to do it. But the new ones, like from Medina and now in Qatar and Kuwait and other than them, they now produce tajweed rules. Inside of, so we see this madda, that's a tajweed rule, right? You see this no sukoon there, no sukoon on this noon, right? On this noon before kana. This is a tajweed rule, right? We see here, we see these two kasras here. They're staggered like this. Sometimes you find them directly over one another. Same thing with a fatha. You'll find them staggered. Sometimes you find them directly over one another. Dhammas. Sometimes you find them written like this, and sometimes you find them written like this. These have different rules. They're showing you ikhfa and nigham and iqlab and all of that. So the Mus'haf, the way they write it today, is very beautiful and helpful for us. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for providing us with the people who are smart enough to do this. So alam ya'lam, as we said, is a present tense verb. Majzoom because of lam. Majzoom with a sukoon, even though we don't see it there because we said tajweed rule. Bi anna. Ba is a harf jar. Ba is a harf jar. Anna is a particle of nasb, and it is for emphasis. Bi anna Allaha yara. Allah, lafdul jalala, is mansoob after anna. Right? Mansoob after anna. And yara is a present tense verb. It is marfu', but because of this alif, we do not get to see the dhamma. Yara, it's a present tense verb, marfu'. Right? And it is the khabar of anna. Anna Allah, whenever we have anna, it enters on a mubtada and a khabar. We must have that. Right? So what are they? the mubtada is going to be an-Allah, right? And the khabar is going to be yara. Now, yara, we could break it down into fi'l and fa'il, and an-Allah, we could break it into harf and nasb, what? And so on. You understand? So this is how the Arabic grammar breaks down. This is why there's 20 pages for the i'rab of this one, and 20 big pages too of the i'rab of this one surah. Kalla, as we said, is a harf zajar, meaning no way, right? It's like to get you to pay attention. La'in, lam, is for like it's like a swear here. It's showing an oath, a swear. La'in, in is a harf shart, so it's like an oath. La'in lam yantahi, like I swear if he doesn't stop, right? Lam is a harf nafi with jazm with qalb, which we already talked about. Yantahi is a present tense verb. Yantahi is majzoom after lam, but here we see a kasra. Why? Well, because it's majzoom bihadaf al harf illa, by dropping the weak letter yantahi, right? Yantahi, we drop that, right? Yantahi, and we keep a kasra here on this to show, right? To show the ya was there. Yantahi. Lanasfa'an, lanasfa'an. I don't think we're gonna get to teen today. I don't know. Lanasfa'an. The lam is again for qasam, like this one here, right? We're going to snatch him. Nasfa'an. This nasfa'an is nas. That's the noon of we're going to do it. Nasfa. That is your root. Nasfa'an. This is the actual nasfa'an. This noon is the noon at-tawkid. The noon at-tawkid. Khafif. Not thaqila with a shadda, but khafif. Right? Normally, nasfa'u. Normally it would be nasfa'u. Right? We're going to snatch him. However, or drag him. But because of the addition of the noon at-tawkid, a khafif or thaqil, this becomes a fatha. Because of this. Because of the noon. It becomes a fatha. That's what happens. When we add a noon at-tawkid to a present tense verb, then it becomes mabni ala fatha. Then we need to put a fatha there. Right? And in the mushaf, here, instead of writing nasfa'an, as we see up here, nasfa'an, they wrote it nasfa'an, and they put it as a alif with a tanween. So they wrote it nasfa'an. So they wrote the noon at-tawkid as a tanween here. Right? This is not something that we normally do, but in the writing of the mushaf in the time of Uthman, they did it. Here and in one other place. Here and in one other place in Surah Yusuf, ayat number 32. Ayat number 32, he says, وَلَا يَكُنَنْ مِنَ الصَّاغِرِينَ. And he used yakunan. He writes, if I can write it real quick here. Liyakunan. Right? Liyakunan. So they put this tanween there, but really it was liyakunan. Like this. But for whatever reason, Uthman and them wrote it like this over here with the tanween. But originally it was nen. Why? Allah knows best. Liyaku. I wrote it backwards. I'm sorry. You understood, man. Don't give me no problems. Yakunan. Now. So they wrote it, but they wrote it li yaku. Yeah, I wrote it right here. I just wrote it wrong here. Li yakunan. So this should be a dhamma, right? So they wrote it with yeah, fata over the ya. So over the noon, whatever. Li yakunan. Jazakallah khairan. It's so scribbly on my page to me. I'm sorry. But anyway, for whatever reason, it was written like that here. How are we supposed to know that? We're like some poor people trying to learn Arabic. Alhamdulillah, we're not supposed to know it. We're supposed to learn it, and that's what we're doing, right? It's not for us, and that's why I was saying, do we need to know that this ma up here is the maf'ulun bihi? No. Ibn Kathir is going to tell us that, or a book of I'rab is going to tell us that, or whatever the case is going to tell us that. But we're not supposed to go into the Mus'haf on our own and start picking this stuff out. Not to make rulings for. Are we supposed to go in there on our own and start looking at it and trying to figure out and testing ourselves and then going to a book and checking ourselves or asking a teacher and checking ourselves? Yes, that's fine. But we're not going to go write a book about this ma being the maf'ulun bihi. Right? Or an article or a tweet or anything. We're not going to go talking about the hikmah of why that's a maf'ulun bihi. You know, someone's going to tell us that, and we know. Same thing with lanasfa'an. How are we going to know what that is? Because somebody told us, and now we know that this happened twice in the Mus'haf when Uthman had it written down. Then they wrote the noon, the tawqid, a khafif as a tanween. Bin Nasiya, ba is a harf jar, Nasiya ism majroor with a kasra. Are there any questions?
No.
You guys are going to be like grammarians when this is all over, right? We're going to know the Quran good, mashallah. Inshallah, that's the goal, man. That's the goal. Nasiyatin is a badal for the first nasiya over here. So that's why we see it being majroor. Nasiyatin, kadhibatin, khatiyatin. They're both sifat. They're two sifas for nadia. So they're going to agree with the badal being majroor, as we can see the kasras on them, right? فَلْيَدْعُوا فَلْيَدْعُوا. The fa is istitnafiyya, meaning like a continuation, so or so forth, right? What did I just do?
I don't know.
Anyway. The lamb is a lamb of amr. The lamb is a lamb of honor. Amr, command. Yad'u is majzoom after, because it's a command here, right? Originally it was yad'u. I see a vowel on it. How is it majzoom? It's majzoom bi hadaf al-harf illa, by dropping the waw, the weak letter, right? It was originally yad'u, and so we want to make it majzoom. How do we do that? Do we put a sukoon on there? We can't put a sukoon on the waw. There's already one. So do we put a sukoon on the ayn too? No. We just we keep our dhamma there and we drop our weak letter. Yad'u. Right? فَيَدْعُ نَادِيَ. Nadia is maf'ulun bihi. Nadia is maf'ulun bihi. Mansoob with a fatha. Who is mudaf ilayh, majroor. Right? Sanad'u. Sanad'u. The scene here is called, the scene is a harf al-istiqbal, meaning the harf of the future, of what's to come. Nad'u is a fil mudari, a present tense verb, right? Marfu', and the dhamma is there. Why is the waw dropped? Give me 1 second. Why is the waw dropped? Because it is yad'u. It's sanad'u. No, the other one is a command. Nad'u, this is a present tense verb. Right? This is a present tense verb. He says here, because it dropped in, he says here in this, if we look at here, if we were to write it, sanad'u az-zabaniya, right? If we were to write it here, then there would be two sukoons, because there's a sukoon on here and there's a sukoon on this first zay, or if we were to say the lam, right? But on the first zay because of the shadda. So there'd be two sukoons, so it was dropped to prevent the two sukoons from being there next to one another. And we don't pronounce it, so there's no need for it, right? Sanad'u az-zabaniya. Az-zabaniya is the maf'ulun bihi mansub with a fatha. We're going to call on the zabaniya, the angels who throw people into the fire, right? Kalla is a harf zajar, like a particle which, you know, wakes you up and, you know, makes you scared, right? La is a harf nafi, a negation. La tuti', it's making it a negation. La tuti'. So we see this being majzoom. Why? Because of the la. La tuti'. Don't obey him. Right? It's majzoom because of the la and nahiya. Don't obey. Makes it a command. La tuti' makes it majzoom. Who, right, is your maf'ulun bihi. Don't obey who? Don't obey him. Right? Even though it's mabni ala dhamma, it's still in a position of being mansub. Maf'ulun bihi. Don't obey him. Wasjud, wow is harf atf, connecting the sentences together. Usjud is the original, right? Usjud. You would put, if you were to start from here, if you were to start, you would say usjud. But because you have this wow, you say wasjud, right? This is a command, mabni ala sukoon. Wa is harf atf, connecting the two things together. Waqtarib, right? Waqtarib, again, madzum, because it is a command. And get close, right? And get close, meaning, as we said, get close to Allah, get close to the Kaaba, all of that. Any questions about the i'rab of, or anything else, the tafsir or the meanings of any of these words? When you left out, Amir, I thought you got mad at me for telling you your yes was wrong. I said, you don't want to hear that. He left.
I don't know what they call it, but it's in the same position like no, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either. I'm just, my point, and I don't need to know. When you tell me yes or no, I know what it means. And that's the gist. Now, if we want to start, if you want to read, but when Shakespeare said no after a certain type of sentence, then that no meant yes. Then this is different when you start analyzing, breaking down, and giving explanations to someone else's speech. But if in general, when it meant no in the sentence, it meant no. But what kind of no is it? And it could mean a no like this, and it could have it. Those are things that are for the scholars, and we're working our way there. So we don't need to know all those details right now. Tayyip? I know you guys are probably tired, man, and I don't know if I did too much explaining today. So that's why it took us so long. If I did too much unexplaining about the reasons why we're doing this, I don't know what it is, but it took us a long time to do that surah, probably because of explaining a lot. But hopefully it was clear and beneficial. That's the main thing. I don't want to be just talking and keeping y'all up for no reason. Was it beneficial? That's the main thing.
No.
Yeah. Inshallah, it's beneficial because you spent time looking at the Book of Allah, learning something. But I want you guys to really walk away from the class knowing something. I want you guys to know that it's khalaq al-insana and what that means. You know, that maybe you don't remember what insan means right now, but you remember what khalaqna means. And that later on, when you really remember that word insan, that surah is going to make so much more sense. And that you're never going to say insanu or insani here because you know that it's the object of the verb. Right? And it just helps you with your understanding. It helps you with your memorization. It helps you with your contemplation. Because the book of Allah is meant to be contemplated on. Yep. So tomorrow we'll do a teen and try to do a sharh and a duha, or just maybe a teen and a sharh, since they're both short. Tayyib? I don't want to take you guys long like I did yesterday. I apologize. Oh, Muhammad, is everything clear? Amir, is everything clear? Or are you in the background just doing something else? It's clear? No, I don't know what when you said no, I have no idea what I asked or said. So maybe when I said you left.
That's what you talking about when you said you left out the class.
Alhamdulillah. Well, you guys, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward y'all, make it easy for y'all. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll meet tomorrow. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.